Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. It's been a while. I think it's been about a few weeks since I've been on and busy lives, but today we have Payo Time. And last time we talked, it was beginning of the season. He was feeling optimistic about his team and still is, but I don't blame him. Now they're pretty bad, and the 49ers team are almost just as bad. I mean, they're very inconsistent. We don't know what to make of that team. So, Payo Time, how are you doing today? And what do you make of this season to start? It's not good.
Well, Ben, I am doing very well because I am hanging out on the Camper Report Saturday
Thank you.
night, the best stream on YouTube right now. So stoked to be hanging out with you, talking some football today. And yeah, the Rams definitely have had a disappointing season thus far. And we're kind of at that point in the season where the narrative is they're a disappointing team, and you have to see if they can change the narrative, and they have an opportunity for an impressive underdog come from nowhere, make the playoffs story. And that's one of the things I love about football is stories like that do happen. They're rare, but when they do happen, they're exciting and fun to be part of. And so that's what, as a Rams fan, I have to cheer on. And I'm excited to cheer them on. And yeah, it's definitely been disappointing for a lot of different reasons with the Rams. However, I'm still thankful we won the Super Bowl last year. No one can ever take that away from Ram fans. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Sean McVay and company try and turn this ship around.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get right into it, though. And let's talk a little bit about, let's see. I don't actually have this. I guess I didn't make it, but I did make banners, but I didn't make this one. Let's talk a little bit about the Eagles. Is the Eagles' weak schedule a good, because there's been a lot of people, and me including, like I have brothers who are Eagles fans. They're riding high this year, whatever. But there's a lot of people, including me, saying this schedule is very weak. We need to see them play a good team and show that they can best a top 5 team in the league before we call them the best team in the league. And so my question to you is this weak schedule that the Eagles have a good excuse for making the Eagles not the best team in the NFL? Because power rankings so far up until this week has not, like, the Eagles were never ranked number 1. It was always the Bills until they lost. So is it a good excuse, their weak schedule, for not making them the best team in the NFL?
Hey, it's a great question. Personally, I've always thought that, like, power rankings are so subjective.
Yeah.
There's so many opinions that go into them, right? Like, if you're a fan that appreciates, special teams a lot more than most fans do, you might rank a team higher in your power rankings. And that's why we see a lot of variance in them. Now, to answer your question of, is it a fair, kind of critique to say, okay, well, the Eagles, sure, they're undefeated, but they've had this lax schedule. I don't think it's wrong to, like, point it out, but you can also pay respect of, hey, the Eagles have been playing good football. They've been winning good football games. And we haven't had to see them, really play from behind that much and close out a game in the fourth quarter late.
Right.
So I expect that test will come for this team for sure at some point in the season. And it might even come in the form of, an opponent you wouldn't really expect, right? Because that's the thing about the NFL. Any team can beat any team. The worst place team can beat the first place team any given Sunday or any given Thursday or Monday.
Right.
And all it takes is, a team that puts 4 quarters of good football together, or maybe they play the ball hog strategy where they keep, Hurts and the Eagles offense off the field, and they just kind of hog the ball and steal the game late. So there's definitely strategies in beating a team like the Eagles. I don't think they go undefeated. I do think they end up the NFC number 1 seed. I don't know. I'm not yet convinced this is a team that's going to have a 17-0 record.
I don't even if they had the capability of having a 17-0 record, I don't think they would do it because at some point you put on all your backups that last game
Yeah.
and you're going to at least pick up 2 losses. And I think they are the best team as far as like they are the most balanced team in the NFL.
Yeah.
They run the ball the best because teams like the Chiefs, the Bills don't really have much run games. The Bills, obviously, if Josh Allen, like you saw with the Jets game, if Josh Allen has a bad down game where he throws 2 picks, that Bills team, that offense isn't very good. The Chiefs, I mean, they've looked good in the run game at times with Pacheco. They've looked fast, but I think the Eagles are the team that I think consistently on a week to week basis. I mean, they're a top 5 run game. They have, let's see, they have, I believe they have in average yards ran per game, they're like a top 5 team. And behind Miles Sanders, they actually have a guy who can carry it more than 10 times per game effectively. So they're the most balanced team by far. My only thing is they definitely, I mean, quarterback wise, I would trust Patrick Mahomes a lot more than what Jalen Hurts can do. And yeah, and the other thing is stopping the run. Jordan Davis, they are missing him, and he has a high ankle sprain. Against the Texans, allowed 5.1 yards to Dameon Pierce, and that was huge. So the real matchup that I want to see the Eagles, the real matchup that I want to see them face is against the Titans, which will be in a few weeks. And I believe without Jordan Davis, if he misses 5 to 8 weeks, which is what a high ankle sprain is. So that is the big matchup that
That's
I think I want to
yeah.
see them face, especially if Ryan Tannehill's the quarterback.
For sure. And that's an example of, as I mentioned, that ball hog strategy. The Titans use that strategy probably as good as any team in the NFL right now.
And if they don't have Jordan Davis, you'll see, I mean, the Titans tore up the Chiefs in the run game. They're the only team that I've seen that can only pass the ball like 7 times per game and still get a win. Like, it's impossible. They're going in 2019, the 49ers did it in the playoffs, but they're doing that in the regular season and they're doing it effectively. And I feel bad for Derrick Henry's legs. So let's get into a few comments, though. We have a few.
Hey,
Bryant Culp, what up, faithful? He's a loyal supporter of my channel. I mean, again, go, if you haven't already, subscribe to Payo Time's channel, link in the description as well. Go follow him on Twitter. And then Damian Lee is in here. He says, what's up? And then Carl Eckel, here, take this chat. Thank you.
Chat taken. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. We're halfway through the season. And we'll continue to see it, but I think the hardest team on that schedule, probably the Titans. Let's see. So next topic, the Chiefs or the Bills, who are you more confident to win a ring? This is an interesting one because both teams, I mean, Bills just got a loss, but the Chiefs are looking, wow, really good. And then the Bills were looking good until they lost to the Jets, so which aren't a bad team. But who are you more confident to win a ring, the Chiefs or the Bills?
You know, I actually think the Bills do have the better roster, but I think the Chiefs have the more consistent team. And it really is going to come down to who's hot at the right time, who's playing good football. I do see a scenario where these teams meet in the playoffs. Maybe it's in the AFC conference title game. Maybe it's before then. It'll be interesting to see how seeding plays out in the AFC. But I think for me, I still got to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Mainly just because they've done it before. We've seen it before, and until the Bills have it go their way where they have, the ball last and they get to pull off the win, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just, I don't know. It's so interesting to me that the way football kind of creates these narratives,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately it's situational, right? And if you think of if Josh Allen had to go 13 seconds to get a field goal last AFC title game, could he have done it? Yeah, he totally could have, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but because it was Mahomes that did it, now that's where the narrative is. So I do lean Chiefs personally, but I think they're two great football teams. I look forward to seeing them play, and I hope that we get to see this in the AFC Championship game again.
Yeah, there are teams that could mess this, and because everyone wants to see this matchup in the AFC. I look at teams like the Titans who could mess it up. I look at teams like the Bengals,
Bengals can mess up, yeah.
Ravens that can mess up that
Yeah.
matchup. So it's good. I have to agree with you there, though. The Chiefs, I think they've showed a little bit of a run game, and they also have like their scheme is like they have a bunch of speed, and they're just gonna kill you that way. They're gonna, I mean, they've showed that they can run the ball with Pacheco a little bit. But the thing that's interesting to me is neither of these teams really can, like, they've really not shown that they can run the ball effectively, consistently, and
Mhm.
they just lean off of their quarterbacks. And that's something that they're going to have to figure out is how can we run the ball to beat these teams like the Titans, and like how can we run the ball effectively to get through the playoffs? I think that's a key component. And my main concern with the Bills is if Josh Allen isn't on his 100% day, what does your team look like?
Yeah.
So defensively, I think the Bills are better. But offensively, the offensive line for the Chiefs is better. I have an interesting stat. Three yards created by 3 yards created by the offensive line before the running back, like allowing 3 yards of contact, but like 3 yards before the running back meets contact. So like basically on 30% of the running backs carries, which is the league's highest.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
so their offensive line is better. I don't know. I would have to agree with you there. Chiefs, I think there's a lot more balance offensively, which could help them. But who do I trust more to get a stop? That's the Bills, because their defense, I think, is a lot better. So
Yeah. Mhm. No, definitely.
yeah. So I think we can move. Do you have anything else to say on that? Or
I think just the interesting thing about both these teams is because they both do have quarterbacks playing at such a high
Mhm.
level, that's almost a way that they kind of can make up for any deficiency in a run game.
Yeah.
If your quarterback is playing at a high level and you have a really bad run game, that can make up for it, right?
Right.
If your
Right.
quarterback is not playing at that high level, well, then having a one-dimensional offense that can hurt you a lot, such as the Rams.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Um. Well, let's move on though. This is the title of our show, and
Yeah,
Pete Carroll. Wow, just showing that he was a good move to get rid of Russell Wilson. I mean, absolutely,
winning the
just
breakup.
I I can't believe that I did not expect this team to be this good. They're 6-3 right now, and I expected them to have 5 wins. So they've got more wins than we have. I mean, I expect them to, and a lot of people expected them to. So my question to you is this the greatest Pete Carroll season ever? And how much is, because they had a great draft, how much is
Yeah.
Snyder to credit for this incredible draft?
Like first off, just with Snyder, you have to give him credit. Whenever a team can just rock a draft like that, that changes an entire organization's future, right? I know for the Rams, like our 2018 draft was really key for us winning a Super Bowl last year. But yeah, the Seahawks got a solid haul of draft picks and
Yeah.
talent, and on top of that, they tr- traded away Russell Wilson for what looks potentially the greatest robbery ever in NFL history in terms of a trade right now.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to say it's the greatest Pete Carroll season ever, just because he won the Super Bowl with the Legion of Boom. back in, I think it was 2012, 2013. And I think like Pete Carroll's had some really good teams before. This for sure, it might be his most impressive coaching season.
Yeah.
Just because he does have such a drastic, change in roster compared to many of his other teams, right? Moving on from Russell Wilson, moving on from Bobby Wagner, and pivoting to Geno Smith, and I still remember when there was like Drew Lock hype like around this team, like Drew Lock seems like an afterthought now, but I remember all offseason thinking like, like the Seattle Seahawks are going to be riding that quarterback carousel, and it's not going to be fun for them, and we're going to all laugh at them, and they're going to be in the conversation for the number 1 overall pick. Well, that did not age well for anyone who thought that about the Seahawks. But no, definitely credit to Snyder and Carroll and the entire Seahawks team, right? I really think those players have done a good job of really rallying, behind Geno Smith, rallying behind Kenneth Walker. And I actually give a lot of credit to a guy named Tyler Lockett, their wide receiver. He
underrated receiver.
Oh, very much so. Very much
every
so.
season. Really good, but just super underrated.
Well,
anyways,
and I feel like if you look at, like, if you watch any Seahawks games, and they often are playing at the same time the Rams are, so I don't watch their games live often, but when I rewatch, like, any catch that Lockett makes, it just energizes their whole team.
Yeah.
And other players make plays too, but there's something specifically when Tyler Lockett makes a play that like that Seahawks team just says, "Oh, we got a first down, let's get another one," right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, let me quickly name Charles Cross, starter, and what's impressive about him is he's, I mean, as a rookie, a top 5 tackle. He's only allowed 4 sacks, which is right now top 10 tackle in the league. But 4 sacks is incredible for a rookie through 9 games. And then you have Kenneth Walker, who I believe is the biggest pick. And the thing that is most impressive about this is, especially with Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks, I feel like, hadn't really had, like, when they had those winning years, they had a really good running back to lean on. Last few years, hadn't really had a consistently healthy running back that can carry them, and they weren't very good. And now it's like they have Kenneth Walker. They're getting back to what the Seahawks their original identity was all those years ago when they were winning. And I mean, Kenneth Walker looking like a top 5 running back. Yeah. That pick, I think, was Pete Carroll's pick because he realized to make this work, we need a really good workhorse running back. And I always knew Kenneth Walker was going to be a good running back. I mean, he played for Michigan State. I'm a Michigan fan because of Jim Harbaugh. I started becoming a Michigan State fan because of Jim Harbaugh when he moved there. And so, and he tore out Michigan when he played him. So I knew he was going to be good. And I think Carroll he was responsible, I think, for that pick. And, man, how did just absolutely paying off. And then Tariq Woolen, absolute monster rookie season as well. So those are 3 insane rookies. So
absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, let's see. He has 4 interceptions, which is like tied for 2nd in the league. So it's crazy. Let's get to some comments. Division looks like it comes down to the Niners and Seahawks. I agree. What are your thoughts on this though? Because only a game and a half back. Do you think that we could get into we'll get into the running? We have a topic for the Rams, but do you think the Rams have any chance at all to make a push?
I do think there's a chance. The reality is, with the current state of the Rams and dropping both games to the Niners hurt, we would need to sweep the Cardinals by beating them tomorrow, and then we would need to also sweep the Seahawks. In the current, and then we need the Niners to lose, right? And so that's the thing that sucks about being in the position the Rams are in right now. They don't control their own destiny.
Yeah,
they need help from other teams. And there is a path to the Rams making the playoffs. I think the division might be out of reach right now for them, unless some things start to kind of go their way and the Niners lose and the Seahawks lose. But realistically, I think the Rams are just trying to get back in the wild card conversation, and
Right.
that's really all you can ask for with how the season has gone. But yeah, when you look at this division race, it does seem like it's right now between the Niners and the Seahawks, and I, I'm just so curious to see, in this latter half of the season, does Geno Smith keep playing at this, high caliber level that he's been playing?
Right.
And do the Niners, do they find some form of consistency and start, going down a bit of a winning streak, right? Because we haven't really seen that from the Niners. It's been like, okay, we're gonna beat up on the Rams and we're gonna lose. And then we're gonna beat up on the Rams and we're gonna not play our best football. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. And the biggest thing with the Niners, just and I feel like this is every year, just the health concerns of the Niners. Like I feel like the Niners should just practice in like a padded room or something.
Yes, we should bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Just wrap them all in bubble wrap, even though they're going to be so much slower in practice because they're going to have all that extra weight on them. It does not matter. Or just fire all of our trainers. I was with that thought. I mean, firing the trainers. I wanted us to fire the trainers last year. The team trainers last year. I don't know how. We have to give it we have to give it a thought next year for like, there's no way they're not out by next year, the trainers.
And like, I don't know, like injuries happen in football. It's the worst part of the sport. Absolutely. As much as we love football, and that's why NFL players get paid so much money, is because they are putting their bodies on line. And for fans like us and content creators like us, we're thankful for that for sure.
Yeah.
But it definitely, like, some of the injuries with the Niners have, like, they don't always seem like they're in-game injuries, right? And so that you definitely have to critique your conditioning and strength coaches.
Well, and we don't have this as a topic, but the thing about not in-game injuries, I mean, torn Achilles to Jason Verrett, you definitely saw that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he was just practicing normally, so I don't know, man. And I think that's the second time that he's torn his Achilles on that side. So
that's insane.
It's rough. And real quick, this is a rabbit trail, and but like, that guy is the most unlucky player in the NFL. I mean, he's 31. He's played like 9 seasons. 6 of them have been injured. I mean,
that's brutal.
There comes a point when I would just quit.
Yeah,
he made enough money, man.
Well, and like I always think back to Andrew Luck, right? Like, he was just tired of always rehabbing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but okay, so I don't think we covered this. Okay, what team is underperforming do you trust the most to turn it around? I'm talking about not necessarily Super Bowl, but like first round of the playoffs and maybe making a push in the playoffs. I mean, there's been a lot of teams that we didn't expect to be as good, to be better, and they really haven't been as good. So, what's the team that you trust the most to turn it around?
It's tough to trust any of the underperforming teams.
No.
But like, you think of a team like Broncos, huge underperforming team. I don't trust them to do it. I don't trust the Raiders are possibly the most disappointing team this year, and I definitely don't trust them to turn around. I think the Packers are underperforming in a lot of ways. I like, obviously the Rams are in this conversation. Let me be a bit of a homer here and say I would trust the Rams for the sole reason of, I do believe we're getting healthier as the season's going on. I know Stafford is possibly missing the game tomorrow because of a concussion, but he's a game time decision. But we are getting our rookie running back, Kyren Williams, who has not yet played for us.
Okay.
So he's going to be making his season debut. I guess he technically did play week 1, but he got injured like in the first quarter. So we're hoping that Kyren Williams is coming back and put a spark in this offense of some kind. And then even I I'll say this is I believe Sean McVay is a great coach, and I know we're going
Yeah.
to talk about that
Yeah,
little
we
later
can
on.
segue
But
into it in
one
just a
of the
second.
reasons I would trust the Rams to make a push for the playoffs and possibly get like that 7th seed is I believe Sean McVay is a good coach who he doesn't have a big ego. He's a pretty humble guy, and he's able to admit like, hey, I haven't been, like what we've been trying hasn't been working. We got to pivot.
Yeah, that's true. I completely agree. Another team I think that could turn it around, and I mean, they actually do have a pretty good record. You talked about the Buccaneers. That's the team where I think they definitely could. The only problem with the Buccaneers is they have no run game. They're the worst running team in the league. Them and the Rams are the worst running teams. And I don't really see that changing because their interior is terrible. So I don't really know how much that's going to change. But a team that I could see maybe even winning the Super Bowl, turning it around, and it has turned it around once they get healthy, is the Chargers. They're 5-3, so they're not necessarily doing bad, but they had a slow start. They don't have as many guys back, and they've been able to keep afloat even with no Allen, with no Williams.
Yep.
So that's a team that will probably get healthy in a few weeks. They're keeping afloat. They could win tomorrow. Now, they need to fix their run game. If they're going to win a Super Bowl, need to fix their run game, worst in the league. So that's a team where they're staying afloat, but I think they could become dangerous. And yeah, we'll see what happens
Well,
there.
and you can critique the Chargers run game all you want, but like
Run
they have
defense,
Austin Eckler, right?
yeah.
And so I don't know. I would agree with you that the Chargers are definitely a team that I wouldn't necessarily say they're underperforming. They're just not meeting expectations, which I know is a different way of saying it, but
Yeah.
I think that I think you're right. The Chargers are definitely a team to watch for in this later part of the season.
And I was meaning, I was meaning not like run offense, the run defense is
The run
worse.
defense,
Yeah, because they have a pretty good run. They have a good offense in general.
yeah.
But yeah, let's actually. So you were talking about the Rams, and again, let's do a hypothetical.
I love this. Love this.
If you were the GM of because again, you guys don't really have many picks, so it's not looking good. You can't really shore up your future because you have a bunch of vets who are on not on 1 year deals, but you have older people. You can't really replace it with new talent because you have not very many picks coming in. And then your run game, it's been a very disappointing for you guys so far. Game is second to last behind slightly ahead of the Buccaneers per game. Just not a good season for you guys at all. And even Jalen Ramsey, who this is a really big, before I get to the question, even Jalen Ramsey, I mean, he's gotten targeted 38 times and has allowed 26 of the 38 targets to get caught, which is like 30th in the league. So he's not even doing as good. So everyone's underperforming. If you were the GM of the Rams, what moves would you make to ensure the future of this team? And would you keep McVay around? Because there's been a lot of rumors that he would go back to radio after this year.
Yeah. So I'll start with the McVay thing. I've seen this from some overreaction, emotional Ram fans of like fire McVay. No way, no way.
No.
I am someone that as I've seen the Rams have some horrible coaches in their past. When you find a coach that gets it, that knows what it takes to build a culture, to keep your team accountable, and to win the Super Bowl ultimately, you keep him, right?
Yeah,
and unless you really feel he's lost the touch, like sure, move. Like sometimes naturally it should be time to move on, but no. Sean McVay here to stay. Yeah, no, that is a for sure. Keep McVay around. You can critique some of the things he's done this year in terms of play calling for sure. I would maybe like to see him have some more voices in the room that challenge him. We lost Kevin O'Connell to the Vikings as their head coach. He was our offensive coordinator last year. And I just don't know if Liam Cohen, who's our new OC, is and there's always been a bit of a mystery into what exactly the Rams OC does. But a lot of it has to do with obviously, practice and prep throughout the week and in-game management and adjustments. And there's definitely a critique there that Liam Cohen's not getting the job done. And I do think that the reality is the Rams have had so much, injuries this year, which I know, talking to a Niners fan, you're like, oh yeah, let me show you our injury report. Like I get it, but the Rams have been relatively healthy in the McVay era, and this year just nothing seems to go their way. And so the injuries are one thing, but then also like this team needs to generate turnovers, which I don't know exactly where we rank off the top of my head, but we do not generate a
No.
lot of turnovers, and it's really hard to win those big games when you don't have those game-changing plays. And that's because the Rams have struggled to run the ball, we kind of need those big plays either through the air or on defense in order to win games consistently. So I would love this defense to get some a little more development in generating turnovers, and like we've had a lot of turnovers where like they'll force a fumble, but then like the ball bounces immediately into the hands of the other team, and you're just like,
Right.
Right. But no, if I'm the GM of the Rams, keeping McVay around, we do have more draft picks than people give us credit for because we do use the comp pick formula, which I see the Niners
True.
and
Yeah.
the copy.
We're doing it next year.
Yeah. And honestly, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I like it. Putting a premium on first round talent is so dangerous. And again, as someone who saw the Rams fail miserably at first round picks, and like I think of like every first round pick from 2006 to like 20, like literally until Aaron Donald, like just did not work out.
So, yeah, my question to you, sorry, was I interrupting? Because I have a,
I'll just finish off this quick.
yeah.
So as someone who like, I think if you idolize the first round pick as this holy grail, I actually am okay using first round picks to trade for proven talent. Let's keep doing it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, and my question to you was, sorry for cutting you off.
No, of course.
My question was, were you a fan if they would have traded for McCaffrey? Were you a fan of that trade? Like getting rid of even more picks? I mean, you would have had like no picks next year, like 3.
Yeah. I you know what? You're not the first person to ask me that, and I think as a fan, I could have gotten over it and said like, "Hey, we got a great player. All right, we're doing this." In the end, I'm glad we didn't make the trade. I do think that we'll be able to use our picks for some much needed reinforcements. The Rams aren't a team that have cut many players the past number of years. I do think we're going to see. There's been a couple of drafts that haven't really worked out for the Rams, unfortunately, and I think the Rams will be we'll still have our core group of guys next year, but we are going to see some roster moves for sure in the Rams, and that's natural. It happens every year with almost every NFL team. But yeah, I do think the Rams will need to invest in the O-line, but also we need to get some playmakers that know how to steal the ball from the other team and just suck the life out of another team's offense.
My question is, this is bold, but would you get rid of Ramsey after this year? Because he probably still has some value. I mean, I look at him and like the numbers that he's posting this year, it's not as polarizing as he used to be. Would you get rid of anybody on that defense or really anybody in general that's big on that team to get some picks that are kind of on the down?
I wouldn't get rid of Ramsey. I'd maybe there's two things. I'd either consider a change at defensive coordinator in Raheem Morris, which I have mixed feelings about. There's times he's doing a great job, then other times you're just like, Raheem, come on.
Yeah.
But so either if there's a change of defensive coordinator, because I don't like the way they're using Ramsey, I don't think they use him consistently well. And then I would also say that maybe there's an argument for switching Ramsey to safety.
Okay.
Which I've heard other people talk about how Jalen Ramsey will, he'll kind of be that, he's early in his career, he was that shutdown corner, but the latter part of his career, you could see him transitioning to a hard hitting safety. He's still one of the best tacklers in the NFL. And I know you can watch a couple of hits on Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel from this
Yeah.
year and see that. So yeah, I kind of lean that way, either change of scheme and how you're using Ramsey or transitioning him to a safety position.
Yeah, yeah. I actually agree with that because who was it that transitioned? Was it Richard Sherman that transitioned to safety? It was one player that was like really famous. He was a corner, but then he kind of like, I don't know. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Richard Sherman, but
There's been a couple over the years, yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, that's a big one as well. Let's get into a little bit of the comments. I apologize, guys, for not being as consistent with this. I will become more consistent. We should be I should be free most Saturdays to do a show. SG Sports Talk channel. I love your YouTube channel. Thank you. If you haven't already, Payo Time in the description. Go subscribe to his channel. Link in the description. What up, Camper and Payo Times is David McNew.
David.
And then yeah, so yeah, I mean that's very interesting. So real quick to finish off this topic, you would not make any trades to get any more picks.
I guess maybe some I'm fine accumulating like late round picks. If you can get something for Cam Akers, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I also think that like there we're not exactly sure what we're gonna do with Van Jefferson. He's coming into a contract year. He's unfortunately he was injured most of this year, but it's really important for Van Jefferson to have a big finish to the season. So that'll be something to consider.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for first and second round picks. Give me more third and fourth round, fifth round picks. I'm more and more. I'm a believer in quantity of picks is at some point more important than the quality of a pick in the first round.
That's true. That's true. If you throw 8 picks at a wall, or like 8, like throw the. Have you heard that saying? Throw the paint at the wall and see which one sticks. Is that what it is? Or like, I don't even know. It's some saying. I don't think I'm getting it right, but it's like throw this at the wall and see if it sticks or something.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that right. I'm butchering.
No,
it completely,
I know there is, but I don't like. Is this pasta or something you throw at the wall? I don't know. But
yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Anyways,
Mhm.
but let's get to our last topic before we quickly break down some of the big Sunday games, and that's Frank Reich getting fired and Jeff Saturday getting hired. And this was the biggest. I think. I mean, absolutely the biggest news that I've heard in a while. I watch this guy on ESPN all the time. What are your reactions to this? I mean, Saturday, quick background on him. He has no NFL coaching experience, used to play for the Colts, was, I think, a Hall of Famer for the Colts, played for, I think, the Packers 1 year, and but just has no NFL coaching experience, and was a part-time high school coach, or was a part-time high school coach now, and worked for ESPN before he got the call from the Colts. So what are your reactions to this strange news, and also reactions to Wright getting fired? Because there's a lot of news in that as well.
Yeah, hey, I'm not gonna lie. Frank Wright, he's someone that like when you consider like the Andrew Luck retirement happening when it did, and like
Mm-hmm.
his just like like he's had I think 6 different starting quarterbacks. When you actually look at it, like he's actually done
Yeah.
pretty impressive job, and to me it makes no sense that like he got fired, but like Cliff Kingsbury still has a job somehow.
Did it? Yeah, I don't know.
Um, but yeah, I'm of the mindset of if there's someone who's going to get another crack at head coaching again, I think that Frank Reich is definitely going to
Mhm.
like get some looks for sure in the future. And maybe he, unless he wants to take some time away from football, that's his decision. But if I'm a team looking for a coach, I don't, I for sure at least schedule an interview with him for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Now, as for Saturday being hired, it's really fascinating. And I hear a lot of people talk about like, oh, he didn't earn it, and like he didn't go through the proper channels. This is a slap in the face to everyone who did it the right way, and like that's a fair criticism. But I also think you have to look. This is an interim head coach position.
Yeah, that's true. He might not stay for this year.
Like
Next year. Yeah. Go
like
ahead.
and so if you're an owner like Jim Irsay, you can do what you want, right? Like you're the owner of the team. It may not be a good decision, right? But you can do what you want.
Yeah.
And if you wake up that day and you're like, hey, I'm gonna hire someone I trust, someone that I know, because I'm not gonna go through like an extensive interview process or something like
Yeah.
that for an intern position. You know what? Jeff Saturday, he's a positive guy. He's been around some good football teams. Maybe he can come in here and just
Mhm.
be a good transitional guy, help build a bit of a culture, finish the year strong. But I don't expect them to win many games.
No.
I'll admit to you, on my one fantasy league where I was desperate for a fantasy defense this week, I picked up the Raiders. And I never thought I would play the Raiders defense in fantasy, but I am doing it this year, this week, because I don't believe
Against the
that.
Colts. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, the Raiders defense has been terrible. Go
yeah.
ahead.
Well, and it's just because like they have a new person calling the plays who's like never called plays before at the NFL level. And yeah, I'm not confident that the Colts are going to be a good team. However, it makes for a great story as a content creator.
Yeah. 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 That's true. Quick question on fantasy though. Do you play for money or do you just do free? Are
I
you
don't
like
play
a
for money,
serious?
but I do play for some. I have one fantasy league that I've been in for about 10 years with the same group of guys.
Dang.
They're awesome, and we have like a punishment at the end, like whoever loses or something. Last year, the guy who lost, he had to walk around. He had to get a shirt made. Like I came last in my fantasy football league, and he had to walk around Disney World like for a day, and then anyone who asked him about it, he had to take a picture with them. So
That's funny. That is
yeah,
funny. Well, yeah. So my thing is, I think this was kind of long overdue. Well, not okay. Reich, I thought that was definitely going to get fired
yeah,
after this year, but I was thinking like he's not going to be the first to go because I think there was a lot of other guys that had done less than him.
yeah,
But I do think I think he was ready on the hot seat at the beginning of this year when you doesn't really work out with Carson Wentz. And you had rapport with Carson Wentz, so it was expected to work out with him. And then you get Matt Ryan. It's just you were kind of staking your whole reputation on Matt Ryan. When that doesn't work out, your offense is looking stagnant. I mean, even Jonathan Taylor wasn't having a good year. Your offensive line was underperforming. It's just not good. So that firing, I think, was expected. I didn't expect it to be during the season, and I definitely did not expect him to be the first, like you said. And Saturday, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe it's the Rich Bisaccia effect. I mean, I'm just surprised they didn't do like a defensive coordinator. It's just really
oh, it's so
surprising to
weird.
me. It's
Yeah,
weird. And it's just like, I mean, is this the best for the fan base? I don't think so because I mean, your owner is picking that coach and uh I feel like it would be better for morale if you picked a guy that the team and the fan base knew. So that's just my take,
no,
opinion.
and like honestly, like there's an argument to like it's not like Jeff Saturday has played for the Colts recently, right? Like he's been on
Hmm.
ESPN and sure they don't, but like this is essentially the equivalent of like asking Rich Eisen to coach your team, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, basically. Um, hey Benjamin, I'm going live with Ant from 49ers Cutback. Yeah, go check that out as well. 49ers Cutback, really cool channel. On the 27th of November on StreamYard. Do you want to be a guest on my channel? Yeah, I would be honored to. Just hit me up on Twitter or my email, campersports, all lower caps, campersports11@gmail.com. And I mean, this guy, Payo Time, one of the smartest creators smartest guy to talk to that I've ever talked to,
Oh, dude, you're
content
too
creators.
kind.
So
I'm just
so
a
go,
dude trying to have as much fun on YouTube talking about
yeah,
football.
yeah, and that's what it's all about. So yeah, go subscribe to him. Who do you think will win between the 49ers and Chargers on Sunday Night Football? So that's a very good segue into our next why am I having such a into our next segment. Let's get into like rapid fire. I know you have to go rapid fire or not rapid fire, but let's break down these big. I've got 4 games for you, and they're kind of more of the bigger games on Saturday or tomorrow. Bigger games tomorrow, and we'll pick our predictions and a quick breakdown of the game. So Vikings versus Bills is our first one, and we will get to 49ers versus Chargers in a minute.
Yeah, I think Vikings versus Bills. If Allen is playing Bills, but if it's gonna be Case Keenum, Case Keenum revenge game against the Vikings. That's exciting. I think I'm gonna give it to the Vikings though.
Vikings, okay, yeah. Wait, really?
No,
Wow.
if Josh Allen isn't playing.
Wait, he's questionable.
Yeah, they're still waiting. I haven't checked the news in a couple of hours, but there was
Wow.
a chance it was Case Keenum. Let's double check that.
Really? I did not know that. Because I was thinking this is a bad matchup for the Vikings. I mean, they do not have a very good pass game at all.
Oh, he is set to be on the field. They said 2 hours ago. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he's active. I
Yeah.
just think generally, do you know what the injury was?
Oh,
Wow, I don't know how I didn't get this notification from NFL.
yeah, they're calling it in Buffalo. They're calling it Josh Watch.
He is their team. It's
Oh yeah,
hilarious.
they haven't. Yeah, it's questionable. I'm not sure what the injury is.
Line to play, set to start. Yeah, well, anyways, that's big though. I wouldn't be surprised if it's his shoulder because he throws the ball like 80 times a game. I'm gonna say if
Elbow.
he does play and he looks decently the same as what he was before this injury, I would say, oh, it was an elbow. Okay, that's kind of similar too. If he's kind of the same, then I think they're gonna win this game. I think it poses a bad matchup for the Vikings just because the Vikings are they allowed, I believe, the last 3 games an average of 200. I can quickly look that up. An average of 27th. They're 27th of the league, 269 yards per game. And they allowed like 300 plus yards to Teddy Bridgewater when they played the Dolphins. So not great. Their defensive, their pass game's not great, which is not an ideal matchup for the Vikings at all because, it's an ideal matchup for the Bills, not for the Vikings. So I'm gonna go Bills here. I think it's gonna be pretty high scoring, 34-30.
Yep.
And then let's get to the LA Rams versus Cardinals. What are your predictions? Your team, kind of a must win for this
Yeah.
team.
So Stafford is a game time decision. However, our backup quarterback John Wolford has beaten the Cardinals before in his
Yeah.
first career start back in 2020. So I do believe the Rams are the better team, even though they're underperforming right now. I think Kyron Williams coming back can maybe help make this running game serviceable. We have some O-line help coming back, and just again we're on like our 7th starting combination of O-line players, and so yeah, I am predicting the Rams to win this game, and McVay has often had the Cardinals number as well.
Yeah, I think it's all about how much Hopkins they really go to Hopkins. I think he's
Mm.
going to be a big one. Can you guys get back to maybe like shutting down, because Hopkins is a big part of that offense. I do think that I'm going to pick Cardinals here because I think the Cardinals have a more consistent offense. They consistently are maybe getting a little bit more stuff done on offense with DeAndre Hopkins, and if they can get him involved, their offense doesn't look bad. So I'm gonna have a close one here, 23 to 20, and it's gonna be close. It's just really depends on, I guess, if Stafford is playing, because
That's a big.
I mean, even though Wolford has beat him, like, you still want your starting quarterback
No,
in there.
totally. And the reality is, if Wolford's playing, the Rams offense doesn't have a like. We can't play the ball down the field as comfortably as we could with Stafford.
Yeah.
Wolford's great. He does not have Stafford's arm talent.
Is Stafford's injury? I did see that he was question or game time decision, but is his injury the elbow?
No, it's he's in concussion protocol.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, so that's a big thing to watch for. Let's get to the next game though. Chargers versus Niners.
This is going to be an interesting game. I think there's
Sunday
both these
night. Yeah.
teams have a lot to prove in this game. I'm looking forward to it. I am picking the Niners to win this just because I still think the Chargers are going to charger. I know they're a really talented team, but I just think there's always those one or two errors that the Chargers seem to make in big
Yeah.
games that don't go their way, and so I kind of think this is going to be one of those games.
Yeah, me too. They have a lot of injuries. They are the most injured team. These are like the two most. Now, the 49ers are getting healthy at the right time. They're coming off of bye, had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. Um, and the Chargers have the worst run defense in the NFL, which is key. And it's astonishing how much they're allowing. I think it's like over 5 yards per carry, which is
Yeah.
crazy. So I think it's just a bad matchup overall. This is another one of those games where we really are getting most of our players back at like for this game. So I just think that just because of that, and the matchup is bad. The Chargers, both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are out for this game. So it's like, I mean, the 49ers have a weakness opposite Charvarius Ward at corner, but how much is that weakness going to be exploited if you don't have the receivers to do it? So I'm going to go Niners here pretty comfortably if they can stay consistent, 30-17.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's get to the next one real quick. Hold on. Seahawks versus Buccaneers. This is so the 49ers Chargers one is Sunday night. This one I believe is an 11 o'clock game. Seahawks
Yeah,
versus
it's over in
Buccaneers.
Germany. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yep, Munich or yeah.
Yeah, it's over in Munich, Germany, and I'm excited to see it. As an international NFL fan myself, being from Canada, I'm always excited when I see these NFL international series. So they mean a lot to me. I'm going to be on a plane at the time that this game is starting, so I'm excited to land so I can see how it goes. But I believe that this has the potential to actually be a pretty low scoring game. And I think that I do think that the Seahawks are going to win it. I just think right now they're playing better football than the Buccaneers are, and I know the Bucs beat the Rams. I don't believe that the Bucs so much beat the Rams as the Rams didn't they kind of gave
Do anything that whole game.
Yeah. So I'm not convinced the Bucs are turning their season around. I just think they kind of kept it afloat with beating the Rams. And I still believe the Seahawks to be playing better football right now and win this game.
Yeah. I have to agree with you there. I think they're going to control the game through the run game, and their corner. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm going to say Seahawks. I think it's going to be a little low scoring, like you said, 24-17. I just don't think. I think they're going to get pressure on him. Their offensive line is good. I think they continue to stay on a roll. This is a very disappointing Buccaneers team for sure. But real quick before we let you go, let's get into a little bit of topics. Not topics, comments, just real quick.
Sure.
Carroll's greatest season was the year he won the Super Bowl. Yes, Celts Chronicles. Shout out him. Go subscribe to Celts Chronicles if you haven't already. But it's still remarkable what he's been doing up there. Yeah, I do agree. I think it's his greatest coaching season. Just because he's been doing it. There was a lot of people doubting him, and that's why I think it's his greatest coaching season. I'm going with the Oh, okay, that's a prediction. I'm going with the Cardinals winning the game by a final score 45-42. That's bold.
That's bold. That's bold. That is a hot take.
That is bold. That is wow. Whose house?
Hey,
Grandies are coming in.
Yeah.
He says whose house?
I know he wants me to say Rams house, but I'm on a Niners channel Grandizer, so I want to be respectful. But and
well, you can say whatever you want. I don't care.
The answer to that is no. There are so many other great Rams content creators out there, and I'm honored and humbled to be one of them.
Yeah. I'm going with the 49ers winning over their Chargers. Yeah, I don't know what 55-52. That's crazy.
SG with the bold takes.
Anyways, guys, if you haven't already, go subscribe to him the link to his channel is in the description, and then also as well the link to his Twitter. So go do all of that good stuff. Like, subscribe. And what have you got coming out?
Yeah, so I try to always do a game day morning vlog, which from some random location I will vlog and just say good morning. So tune on, and I'll probably have a short come out tomorrow before the game that's just totally random and has something to do with football. And then I'll host. The plan is to host a watch party for the Cardinals Rams game. So feel free to come on out to that. Excited to see your channel grow and
thank you.
This is I think our second time collabing, so honored to collab with you, and definitely gonna get you over on my channel sometime, and looking forward to collabing again.
Yeah. Everyone, this has been a great night. I'll be back probably next Saturday with hopefully another guest, so you can check me there, and then I'll be posting a few other videos during the week if I have time, but school is busy these days. Sophomore year has definitely been a lot busier than freshman year, so apologize for not as much content, but we'll see you guys later. Have a good rest of your Saturday night, and go Niners, or in this case, go Rams, I hate the Rams, but
have a good night, everybody.
Yeah. We'll see you guys.